Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. Today I wanted to show you my favorite FPV setup. It's still my favorite FPV setup today. I've made some changes to it since the last video that I made where I flew this in the dark. So what I wanted to show you is this platform that I have made. This platform is from Picnicquads, and it used to be attached via rubber bands to a H-frame. However, since then I've realized that you don't really need the rubber bands to attach this to the quad, and seeing as I've got lots of other different quads, I can literally just take the plate and band it to whichever quad that I want. So this is the 1 gram camera from FPV Hobby, which is still sold. However, this is the wide-angle lens that has been out of stock for a good while, which is a shame. I've put myself on the waiting list to have some more come back in stock because they are fantastic. Now, I haven't cut any wires here for the reason that I'm not sure whether I want to use this camera in other situations, so I've just sort of wrapped it around the frame, but obviously there's a bit of dead weight there. So it's really simple to set up. Out of the camera, there's no audio on this, by the way, it's just video. Out of the camera, you've got the plus voltage, which is the red wire, the black wire is the ground, and the white wire is the video. And then I have spliced into here a micro JST connector, which I then plug a 100 milliamp battery from a protox. You have to reverse the polarity of these. Well, that's just my preference anyways, because the 808 camera, which I also use these batteries on, have a reverse polarity, but that's just the way I've got it set up for anyone that's a bit confused. So in this instance, actually the red wire is the negative and the black wire is the positive, but that's just my personal preference. You can make it easier for yourself, but so that this battery can interchange between the 808/16 camera, a Mobius camera, and also this camera, I've switched the polarity around there. So yeah, so the battery plugs in there, and then the yellow wire is the video wire, which then goes into this 1.2 gigahertz video transmitter. It's 1280, this particular one. I've covered it in hot glue so that it stays in one place. And what's great about this is it connects here, so if this ever breaks, I can just literally unplug that and plug it back into a new one. Also, I've got the 900 megahertz version of this, which uses the same setup, so it's very much plug and play, which I like about it. So this is the antenna, which is a dipole antenna, and I've got two of them facing up there, which works really well. I tend to find I can get really good range out of that. So the next thing is onto the quad, which is a Picnicquads. Now, like I say, you can attach this to anything, which is great. I can attach it to a bigger quad, literally just using an elastic band, and it works fantastic. Can use this battery, I get 21 minutes flight out of this, which is plenty, but of course you can increase the battery size and any kind of battery capacity, which is 3.7 volts. I should say that this VTX and the camera can handle up to 5 volts, but you get amazing range out of 3.7 volts, so I didn't want to confuse it putting a regulator in there. Also didn't want to power it from the quad. I really like these batteries. They don't weigh very much at all. They weigh 2 grams, so I've tended to find that if you're trying to use a regulator to get rid of noise or a filter or something like that, it ends up being the weight of one of these or even more, so I like to use a battery always. So yeah, so back to the quad. It's a Picnicquads frame. This is the efficiency frame, the 100, because that's the only one that accepts the 8.5 mil motor size. So let's weigh the thing and see what it all weighs. I'll just turn this on. Now this weighs about 10 grams. It could weigh a lot less. It's showing 12, 10, there we go, 9 grams. It's because I've got it on the bed here. It's not very accurate, but I'll quickly get that off, you see, and we'll put the quad on. The quad weighs about 28 grams. The whole thing, this isn't completely accurate, but the whole thing is weighing 41 grams, which is what the H107D weighs in total. So I'm using the Hubsan H107D props. It's very important to get these get a nice balance set. I've found that actually these are off my spare H107D. They're the ones that come with the quad. I tend to find that not the aftermarket, but the spare part version of these aren't as well balanced, but this flies fantastic like this. And actually, this isn't very accurate. It's because I'm measuring it on the bed. It actually comes to about 39 grams in total when everything's on it. So okay, on to the next part. Now, this is a new addition to the FPV rig. It looks like a monstrosity, but it does work really well. And here it is. This is the look at the mess of that. These are the Quantum goggles that are seriously cheap. I think they cost about £19. So on here, I've got the 1.3 gig video receiver and a dipole antenna, of course, because this is dipole here. I've got an Overlander 2600 milliamp hour battery, which is powering the video receiver, but also the TFT monitor that's in the back of here. Yeah, we've got a double connector that comes off into two JSTs and two DC adapters here that plug into this, and also, you can't see it, but so, there we go, into there. And I have to say, I was really skeptical about goggles. I've never been a goggles person. I've always been a LCD person. But there really is a different aspect to it here. Now, what I'm hopefully going to show is I'm going to show that using goggles, you can get extreme accuracy when doing FPV, much more than you can on a monitor. Now, this thing is really hefty. It's really heavy, but you know, I'm kind of sold on the whole goggle thing. I'm whether in two minds to get a Fat Shark system. I mean, look at that. This whole rig that I've made weighs 500 grams. However, I am using the 1.3 gigahertz VRX, which you can't really do with the Fat Sharks. Now, there is a 1.3 module for the Fat Sharks, but that is sort of an added extra. And of course, with the Fat Sharks as well, you know, you can plug them into the AV out or whatever, but I just really like the fact that this was sort of an all-in-one system. It looks really messy, but it is fantastic. There is other videos on this, much better than mine, but this is what I'm using at the moment. The RC Model Reviews channel, go and check that out. He did a really nice review of this. Now, one big thing that I think is important about this whole setup is that this monitor can be changed into 4:3 format. Now, a lot of the goggles out there, I think the Sky Zone goggles, use the 16:9 format, and I am a bit of an aspect ratio nerd, really. Ever since I've sort of been into sort of videos, I've always, I don't know what it is, there's something in my brain that says you've got to have the right aspect ratio, and this fits the bill perfectly. I'm really impressed with these. I may end up buying some Fat Sharks, but for now I'm really happy with this, and you'll see in the video. Now, of course, I'm using the Spyhawk TX to fly this, and what I'm going to show you is the fact that this room is really small that I'm in, but I can fly just so precisely around this room using this headset, and I couldn't do that with using the screen. So you know, take from that what you will. I'm going to be recording this on this lawmate receiver, so you know, I can't really show you what this thing sees, but what I will be able to do is record using this connected to the computer using a TV card and show you that you really can sort of fly from lying down. I'm going to lie down on this bed. I'm going to look ridiculous wearing this, but it really is an experience, and for £19 you can't go wrong. Now, unfortunately, the only place that seems to sell this is Hobby King, and I'm not a fan of Hobby King whatsoever. I've had so many parcels go missing with Hobby King, but luckily this one has turned up. It turned up really fast, surprisingly. I've got other orders with them that hasn't turned up, but anyways, I can't recommend Hobby King, but this thing is really, really good. I was really surprised with it. I have also cut out here a bigger section so that your nose can fit in. Everybody has to do that. So that's something else that I've done. But anyways, on to the flight.